What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tapped In. I am your girl, Moni Moni.
I am Mariah. We're glad to have you guys back.
Yes. And we're here to talk about boundaries. You know, we're going to piggyback off of one of our recent episodes that we've released, but we want to get a little bit deeper into the kind of boundaries we set for ourselves and kind of like just talk about where we're at with that, you know, because I think it's really important. Don't you?
I think it's really important. I know I struggle with boundaries. I'm still learning boundaries, but I keep getting better. How about you?
Boundaries. I'm learning the true meaning of having boundaries because I feel like I'm one of those people that like sets them up. I don't know if I could stay true to it. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
okay. I
Right?
feel that. I
Does
feel
that make
that.
sense?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I always slide back a little bit so that I start
Right.
feeling like, oh, am I being mean or am I being too harsh? And then
Yes.
I'm like, well, no, I wonder why my life is not upgrading. It's because I'm not setting boundaries.
No, I know. I get it. I get it. And that's how I feel too. Like, it's not that I don't respect my own boundary. It's just, I think people pleasing was part of it. And I think it's the main, like, one of the major parts of not being able to hold my own boundary, you know? Because it's like, I just want everybody to be happy around me. I just want everything to be good, you
That's
know? And it's just kind of like, I feel like I'm mean, you know? Like, certain boundaries I put is like being mean. I don't know.
okay, give me an example. What's a mean boundary you think that's like hard for you to put out there?
Okay, so one of the examples was I told my mom not to call me. Like,
It's not funny, but I feel
no,
like it's
it's
a good
not, but
boundary. They make you upset. It depends. Like, and every time she calls, you get upset, or like you're having a good day, and then she
well,
calls and you get upset. I mean,
well, yeah, well, no, gosh, okay, so I think it's because she would call me, and then like she would start pouring everything, like whatever
oh,
drama's going on at that moment, and I'm sitting here like, hey mom, I gotta go, like I'm in the middle of a meeting, or hey mom, I gotta go, I'm like in therapy right now. Literally, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm in therapy because of this shit, you know. And, you know, I had to put the boundary with her, you know, and it's like I told her, you know, because me and my mom, we have a different dynamic, honestly. We have more of a, we grew up together kind of dynamic. It's not so strongly as in, like, oh, this is my mom. Like, you know, like she had me when she was a baby. So it's almost like we finished growing up together, you know, and we've had rough patches in our relationship. I mean, I love her. I do. I love both of my parents, but with her, it was just kind of harsh and hard. Told her, I'm like, you know, I'm not getting anything out of our relationship. You know,
yeah,
I'm really, even at this moment, I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of it because I feel like I'm in my healing stage. You know what I mean? And it's like, and especially because like I know a lot of people are close to their moms, you know, but
yes.
I'm not like I'm not like she's a good grandma, but as a mom, like I don't know what it is. I mean, we went through a lot of shit together. You know, I could just probably say it like that. But
Yeah.
I told her, like, you need to mature yourself before you come back into my life fully. And I felt like that was one of the harshest boundaries I've ever had to put up because it's like, how do you tell your parent? Don't call me, don't text
Yeah.
me, don't like I don't want to hear from you right now, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, this past Christmas, you know, I caved in. She came over and celebrate. But I mean, it's more or less because, you know, I have her grandchild. Actually, two of them. My niece stays with me, and you know, it was just kind of one of those things. I had to put whatever I set up aside for a moment,
For a day.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's that like I don't want to do that anymore. Like I want to set these solid boundaries and just like stick to them. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you
Get me.
mean. I understand completely. Like I said, we're kind of cut from the same cloth. So my grandmother actually raised me. And so even though she had raised all her kids, like even she just wasn't really around. She did the best she could. And
Right.
with that comes like a lot of guilt was like, well, she did a lot for us. Like she worked 3 jobs while we were raising all of her grandkids because both of
Oof.
my parents were junkies. Even though I respect how hard she worked and how much she gave us, it wasn't healthy. Let's just say that.
Mm,
I really raised myself. Like, yes, she like provided, but because she worked so hard, she was never home. You know, I had to grow up at a young age, very young. And
mm,
so I'm kind of in that same boat with the healing girl era the last few years. And it's like my family, I know to them, I'm coming across like a bitch. Like, oh,
mm.
she's being a bitch. But I'm not being a bitch. I have a boundary.
Yes.
So it's like I can't be around. For example, we have lots of druggies in our family. And one of the key causes of that, I feel like, is the enablement of like the
Mm.
older generation. You know what I'm
That
trying to
part.
say?
That
Yes,
part.
it's the enabling behavior, and I just refuse. I'm not gonna enable. I'm not going to look the other way at certain things. Like, if you bring that around my family, I don't want it, and that's where the boundary has to go up. Like, I can't be around and pretend nothing's happening, if that makes sense. Like, I can't
Yeah.
go to a family gathering at Thanksgiving and pretend like several of the cousins are not, like, high. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not high on marijuana, people. Not on marijuana. It's on like hardcore drugs. So funny though, because like I'm the bad guy for not wanting my child around it.
Mm.
You know what I'm trying to say? I'm the
Oh,
bad guy.
yes. You know what? It's funny because at this stage, I'm okay with being the bad guy. I don't care anymore. And it's not that I don't, oh my gosh, I don't care. No, it's not that. It's just
Uh-huh.
I've had to cut off family members for a long time. Like my dad has a twin sister and I don't talk to her, you know? Like hell, I don't even talk to my grandmother on my dad's side. Like not even after he passed away. You'd figured that it would be more of a, oh my god, this is my
Yeah.
son's like lineage and they have my son's blood or they have my twin brother's blood running through their veins, like let me be there for them, so that way it's like I'm being there for my brother, but it's not even like that, and it sucks, but I have put up a boundary and I did, I told one of my other aunts, Snoopy. I love her, she actually does reach out to me. She tries to communicate with me. She's always been that one person, but I did tell her, like, if my other aunt wanted to ever talk to me, she needs to be the one to talk to me because I'm tired of being the initiator. Like, I am
Love
fucking
that.
done. I'm done trying to be the nice person that's going to come up to you and things like that. No. I'm always having to be this fucking bigger person, being that I've set other boundaries even with other family members. I have family members on my mom's side that I also set up boundaries with, and I mean it's like I know they see me or they see anything that I do and they're like, okay, here's Moni Moni with another thing, but it's like it's not that I set up so many boundaries and I don't respect them. Like I do, there's only certain ones that it's like harder than others,
I
but
understand that a lot. And a lot of that energy too is like people only want to now initiate things with you when you start shining or start new things. And it's like sometimes they just want to be nosy. Like, what's going on with you? What are you doing? And it's
mm,
like, well, you never called me before. Like, you
why are you calling
never,
me now?
why are you calling? Yeah. Why are you calling me now?
What you want?
I will say that's a hard one for me because, like, sometimes even now, it's like people can see your potential before you sprout.
Mhm.
Start seeing your light shine through. And that's the one I struggle with now. Is like I'll get DMs from like the other half side of my family that I kind of grew up with. But it, like when I was a teenager, I was the only one initiating. And like, why am I a teenager initiating with grown adults?
That
You know
part.
what I'm trying to say? Like,
God, yeah, that's my life.
thank you. And every time I would go over, they wouldn't even try to connect with me. They'd be like, hey, can we get a ride to this place? Because I had my own car when I was a teenager.
Dude,
So it
me too.
wasn't even, it was like every time. And I literally marked it down. Like every time I went over there, they would ask me for a ride somewhere.
Mm.
Every time. It happened like 10
Well,
times.
my aunt Snoopy and her children, like, they were always welcoming, like, always. Like, my cousin Jesse, Matthew, they were always welcoming, and I appreciate that because when I did come around, when me and my siblings did come around, like, they were always open, but everyone else is just kind of like, no, like, not even my grandma, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never got that grandmotherly love from her, and it's okay, I'm okay with or without it. Like, I do color every once in a while, but still. But no, you're right. Like, I'm in the same boat as you, you know. I was young and shouldn't be initiating relationships with older people. You know what I'm saying? Like, not older people, but like
Grown adults, in my
grown
opinion.
adults when I was
Yeah.
a child myself, like, come on now, like, come on. But, I get that even on my mom's side of the family, like, some people, and I'm sure they're gonna watch this because they like to keep tabs. Hi, hi, hello,
How you
hi,
doing?
how you doing? But I'm done. Like, I haven't spoken to some of them in a long time, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with separation, and I think that's one of the boundaries that I have kept up with because I was very like, I don't want to be around people who are not going to be good to me,
Yeah.
because I do have a child and I don't want my child to see their mother be disrespected. And I
Yeah.
want to teach my child to set up healthy boundaries, you know, and to hold people to their boundary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want my daughter to be like, I'm able to set up a boundary and I can protect myself. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
If not, she gonna call her mama and we could get it rocking, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? But
That part.
that part.
Oh, that part, exact. It's deep. That's kind of where I'm at too. And it's like, it's never to be a certain type of way. It's like,
Mhm.
but how can I allow that for my child? Like, I hated that growing up. I would like look around at all these people, even as a child, and be like, what the hell is going on? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
why? Like, why are y'all
Yes.
all like, it just, I guess, not to be harsh, but fake. Like, that's like my
Yes.
family trauma. Is a lot of people are just fake and they don't talk about real issues. They'll just gloss over everything, like everything's fine and dandy. And they never talk about their feelings or how they
Mhm.
feel, or I just can't be around it. It's like I get sick now that I'm healing and I get
Yeah.
around them and I get like just a sick feeling
Mm.
like, I'm not being authentic here. And then, no, none of
Right.
these people are authentic. I don't need to be around that energy. I was going to say earlier, like about the people reaching out, a boundary I've set is I don't respond.
Ooh.
Like if I'm energetically not feeling, and this is something new I've been setting for myself with even friends, family, distant family members who want to check in now that I'm
Mhm.
kind of doing better, or even family members I just know like only want my attention when I'm ignoring them.
Mm.
So, like, I know it sounds so wrong to
They're worse
say.
than your exes, bro.
I know they can smell me like they're doing. I'm focused on
Right.
myself.
Well, you see, you're lucky. Like, I mean, I still feel like that's lucky because I don't even get that. Like, my family is just so cold. Like, we're so cold. Like, we won't. I mean, they'll sit there and they'll watch your story all day and they want to be nosy. They want to talk shit about your shit that you're doing. I mean, if you don't know that I know, trust me, I know. I'm sorry, guys. I don't really mean to be this way, but I mean, it's like, it's dumb. Like, you should be my biggest supporter, and instead you're being my biggest hater. And it's like, ew.
That's why
Like,
I don't
what kind of
respond.
energy is that? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
that's
that's
just
what
like,
I'm saying.
no. Like, mm-mm. But even then, like, I haven't gone to any events of theirs or things like that because I don't feel that warm, welcome family energy. And, I was letting my daughter go with my mom, for a minute. But then, even then, they proved to me that I can't even trust that they would, like, be
Thank
cool
you.
around my own kid. So it was like, fuck that, fuck you, and my kid's not going to be around you, and that's just it, because I don't want any bad energy to be placed on my daughter. Like, I really don't. Like, I want her to be able to be like, I don't, mommy, I don't like this adult. I don't want to be around this adult. And I want her to be confident in why. And, when she sets that up, or, if she needs me to go talk to them and be like, hey, you're not allowed around my daughter because she doesn't feel comfortable with you. I want them to respect that boundary. And
Yeah.
as long as she knows she's placing them in a healthy way for herself, I'm always gonna support. How else can I teach her to do that if
Not by
if I'm,
example. Yeah.
currently learning myself, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the biggest part, and I think that's why I'm trying my best to understand boundaries, place them, and hold on to them,
Mhm.
because at this current moment, I've placed a few, and like the one I told you guys with my mom, I broke that on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But then again, I'm learning, I'm growing.
Give yourself grace. You got to think about it this way. Like Olympic medalists, they're not an
Mm.
Olympic medalists from the first time they did the sport. They just spent hours and hours and hours and
Mhm.
years training anything. And I always tell my son that when he gets so mad and he's not good at something he starts, like, you're not going to be good when you start. I would be like, whoa, like, that's crazy. That's a gift from God. If you're, if you're that good when you start, like, and I think that like with the healing journey, it's important to remember, like, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Like, we're gonna try again, fail, try again, fail. But each time we try, that resilience, we're gonna get closer and closer and closer to where,
Right.
setting a
Right.
boundary quick. It's like
Mhm.
easy. We don't even feel guilty about it no more.
Exactly. How one of the hardest ones too is like setting them with your friends, because you meet people, and sometimes I feel like, it's crazy because I feel like it's harder to set up a boundary with a friend than it is with a family member. Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
interesting.
Right? It just is. It just is. And I think it's because we choose those people, you know? Like,
Yeah.
we choose them, and then when they cross a line that, is not okay, and you have to set that boundary, like, it's worse, because then you start criticizing yourself. Like, why did I have this person around? Or I've had a few people that I had to cut off. Shoot, before this New Year's, like, shit, I was on Facebook removing people, getting people off of my Instagram, like, get
Me
gone.
too.
And it's not me I'm the shit and, things like that. No, it's just like in this era, I don't feel like those people have any value to me, getting anything out of those relationships? So I had to set this boundary of like no longer allowing dead weight to be dead weight. I need to get rid of it.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
That's a good analogy. You can't have new things come in. There's no space for new things
Mhm.
at this dead weight. I did the same thing before the new year. Even like with men I date. Even if we went on one date and then we followed each other on Instagram and never went out again, they're still pulling on my energy. Still
Yep.
watching everything I'm doing, not interacting with it. And then they only interact but then never do anything else. Like they'll like heart a story or tell me, hey, happy holidays. Like,
And that's it.
it's a waste of energy, though. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Obviously, when you go back out, we're not even compatible. So we don't even need to be following each other. And that's a boundary like going into this new year. Kind of what you've been saying. If you're not pouring back into me, then we
Mm.
don't need to be interacting. And I had a new friend I met, I think it was a month or two ago. This one was kind of hard for me recently. Really nice girl, really nice
Okay.
girl. She came and she modeled for my clothing company. So when I started my clothing company, if you don't know, it's Moose Clothing Co. You can find it linked
Mhm.
on our Instagram. And I'll probably put in the description with all of our other businesses we both have.
Mhm.
But when I started it, I thought it'd be really cool to like have the girls in the community. Like, I just put an ad on Facebook. I had a few girls like I met like that were just around the city that were really nice. And one of them was great. She has her own business. But like after the photo shoot and all that, I just felt like she like started like pulling on my energy, if that makes sense. Like not in a mean way. She knows what she's doing. Every like sending like messages like 5 times a day and just like, and I try to politely tell her several times, like, okay, well, I'm not working this week. So like next week, like let's go ahead and get together, like taking time off. like personal time,
Mhm.
like to heal. And then she messaged me again, like the same day. So that was like, I had to really set a boundary with her. And I didn't tell her nothing. I don't have to respond. And that's something I felt spirit was calling me to do is like, okay, well, you need to like set the boundary. You need to be like, I mean what I say. Like, I'm not working right now. She was disrespecting my energy because I told her I'm not working and she disrespected it by reaching out again. I had to like not respond and leave her on red. Spirit sometimes calls, I say the villain here, but it's not really like, I feel like us spiritual girls, we're not trying to be the villain, but we have to have boundaries. And so,
We're not we're not the past 30 years. We have boundaries, you know? We're a whole group of people that are like not taking shit anymore. These past 30 years, like I even see it with my mom and family members, like boundaries were just not a thing you talked about. Really, you know?
yeah.
Like, just the same way as anxiety or depression, like, nobody really talked about those things, and then now there's this whole movement, this whole healing era that we're all going through, and
Mhm.
it's like we're learning these new things, you know? So, I mean, part of it is maybe you're right, she doesn't know, and
Mhm.
she doesn't realize that it's pulling on your energy so much and pulling you down, but it's good and it's healthy that you set up that boundary, because that means you're giving yourself that respect and space because you're respecting the fact that your body is probably even exhausted. Because, I understand what you mean because there's like times where I have a conversation with somebody
Mhm.
and then afterwards, like, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed. Like, I'm drained. And it's not their fault. They probably don't even know that,
Yeah.
hey, energy's so fucking heavy on me, but still, it's like I think that's why it's important for each of us to work on ourselves so that way we're not that
Mhm.
draining
Mhm.
person. Do you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like,
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Honestly, I felt a lot better ever since I've been practicing boundaries. I feel like it's what we're called to do in this like
yes.
2020 year
Yes.
going forward. Even with longtime friends, I feel like stop answering my phone. So for me, like that's what I'm working on right now. It's like I don't need to answer my phone. Like I need to check in with how do I feel in this moment. Even and that's with
Mhm.
family and friends. And it's like that's what I mean. My energy, I come first in this season. It's like
Yes.
the selfish season. Like selfishness gets such a bad rep. But honestly, like, you know what? I gave and gave my whole life since I was a child. I've given
Yeah.
and given and given. When is it my turn to take? Like I should take my own energy. This is my energy. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Yes, I do know that. Like, I that was me. Like, even now, like,
Mhm.
I get what you're saying because I'm the person you call, I'm gonna answer the phone. So much so that my partner now, like, he's very like, "Babe, don't answer the fucking phone." And for a minute, he was getting like upset with me, and I was just kind of like, "Well, I can't help it. Like, I'm just this person. Like, I always feel like
Mhm.
911, they're calling me." And he's like, "No." He's like, "'Cause you don't even see what it does to you." He's like, "You're literally in this high vibrational moment." He's like, "You're so happy about these new things that you're doing and things like that." And all of a sudden you get a phone call and it's like, boom, all
Boom.
that goes away. You're having a whole panic attack because you're like, you can't physically go somewhere and like save somebody. He's like, "You're literally like the on-call superhero." I guess. But it's gotten to the point where it's so draining, and it's so draining. And then I noticed that it wasn't fair for him, my little family that I have, my
Okay.
household, not even
Yeah.
for my dog or my cat, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't even walk around me anymore, they're, like, running away and shit because they're like, Hamilton's like, "I ain't dealing with this shit." He's like, "I'm walking away. Get away from me, lady, because you're crazy right now." But
Mhm.
I had to start setting those boundaries of like not answering the phone. Or now I have it to where like you gotta text me before you call me. You don't know what I'm doing.
And
I
that's another thing. It can wait. Like I know it's so sad to say, like, if people really need you, I believe in being there for people. You know what I'm trying to say? You should still
Right.
be there for people. So there's a time and there's a space for it. a lot of these people I was answering family members, friends, I answer the phone and then you make me feel like terrible. Like you said, like my energy switches exactly just like
Really?
that. Like I'm telling you about something. I would have one friend I would always call and they would call me. I didn't call them. They would call me. I'd answer. They'd ask me what I was doing. I'd be so excited, like, oh, I'm starting this business or I have this great idea today. Like, I can't wait to like push this out on social media, see if something picks up.
Right.
And they sounded so uninterested, and just like you would literally hear them doing something in the background, like all distracted. Like, what? What'd she say? Oh, can you say that again? I'm like, you called me, and we've only been on the phone for 3 minutes. And you're not even paying attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's like you're just
I
calling to
do.
see, I don't know, like an energy update with me. Some people really stay around to see what you have to offer them later. And I hate to say that, but then why else are you calling? Because you're not interacting with me. You're not
Right.
pouring into me. So what is this? Are you just taking whatever I'm saying, the energy I'm giving out?
Well, I
And
mean,
so
to be fair, I'm gonna speak on the other side of that, right?
mhm,
Um, like sometimes I feel bad because I'll call my aunt. She's like one of my best friends, one of the people that I know that if I want that non-sugar coated advice, that's who I'm going to.
yeah.
And, like, I do feel bad sometimes because, like, I feel like I'm not where I need to be when I call her, and then I feel like she picks up on that because she's sensitive to energy, and me too. And I feel bad because there's certain people that, like, friend-wise that I don't talk to on the daily basis, but they're like family to me? Like, I have about 3, 4 people that I know that are my friends and are my chosen family, and like, we don't talk every day.
Mhm.
We call each other every blue moon, and it's like nothing ever happened. I think it's important for us to take that time for ourselves. Like you said, it's really important. I know it sounds like you said selfish, but it's not selfish. It's selfless because for the longest time, I know you and you know me, like we're pretty much same person, different realities. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like different vessels, but I mean it's crazy because we've gone through similar things, and I think that's why we attract each other, and we attract those certain people. Just be cautious about what you do, where you're at,
Mhm.
so that way like that you don't bring someone else down. Because it's not always that, oh my god, these people bring me down. Sometimes you're the one that brings them down, and
Oh,
you
for
got you
sure. For
gotta acknowledge
sure.
that part, both aspects of it. And I do feel bad when I'm not in my right frequency and I'm calling people and trying to check in on them and make sure they're good. I do feel bad and I do see that and I do understand that and I do take accountability for it.
You said a key word there, accountability. Like
Yes.
you're very self-aware, you have accountability. So like, and I hate to say it, I just hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Not everyone has good intentions. And like, does that
Right.
make sense? Like I sometimes, and that's like with the energy thing, and I could feel their intentions. Like, does that make sense? I've
Yeah.
always been like this as a kid. Like I could feel people's intentions because I'm like clairvoyant. Like, but
Right.
I always will sit and play dumb. I don't know why. I always do. I'll sit and play
Me
dumb
too.
and see what you do first. Like, let me,
Yeah,
it's like
like,
that little
okay.
check in with myself. Like, let me sit
Right.
here, let me see how you move, and let's see if you really like fuck with me like that or not. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. It's
And
like, let me check
so,
your vibe. Like, all right, I already get this vibe from you. And like sometimes I meet people and I know that's the last time I'm ever gonna meet them. Like I just make that decision right then and there. But at the same time, I'm just like, well, let me see how you move. Because my moon's in Scorpio, like I'm gonna investigate you. I'm gonna find out what you're like. And I think the reason why I do that too is because I'm gonna study you to know how to defend myself. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna watch how you
yeah.
move so that way I know how to defend myself if you ever try to cross me. And that's just how I am. Like I give
Oh,
and not just that, like again, I was a people pleaser at the same time. So at the same time, I'm this person that's like, I know how I am. I give people the benefit of the doubt, and some of them choose to push my boundaries and show their ass, and that's perfectly fine. I get it. That's your crisis era,
Mhm.
whatever. Go deal with your shit. Leave me alone. It's just kind of one of those things like overall boundaries are just to be respected. And
Yeah.
sometimes, you gotta sit on that one side, like on that other side of it, and be like, you gotta be accepting that someone has a boundary. And I
Speaking
mean, you
of
can sit back
that,
and be like, I didn't do anything wrong to you, or I didn't do anything to you, and things like that. But at the same time, it's like, you just gotta accept if they put a boundary up on you, that's it. Like, okay, and accept that. Don't go try to justify your case on why they should be. I mean, you got to have that self-love to know that okay, this person doesn't want to be around me. That's perfectly fine.
and sometimes it's just like the healing thing with your mom. You're like, go work on yourself and then come back. Because I've had
Yeah.
friends, I will say that I've had a friend, we were all in a friend group because we're all single moms and we all like to like go out party together when our kids are all at their
Mhm.
daddy's houses.
Dropping kids
So
off.
we had a little group. One of my closest friends I lost this year, and I learned a lot from her, and she learned a lot from me. I'm very grateful. Like God had us together for
Right.
like half a year. Like energy started going different ways, and that's okay. Like if for some reason later in life they get realigned, we'll come back together. If not,
Right.
then I know for sure, like, I used to know, like I said, I never went to the gym. Well, she went to the gym all the time, and it kind of rubbed off on me. Like, she was a great influence in life about taking care of your body, taking care of like your outward appearance. Like, I will say, like, my looks elevated from like last year to this year. I like everyone always tells me like, "Oh my god, you look so much better! Like, you just keep getting like more beautiful every year." Thank you, but it really like she really affected me with that. Yeah, I used to always have friends before her. I would try to get dressed and stuff. But they'd be like, why are you
Mhm.
just not? We're just going here. Can't be around that type of energy. It rubs off on you. You know, she was one of the first friends I had to be like, oh, like, let's get dressed up. Oh, let's go buy nice outfits together. And
Mhm.
it really poured into my life on my own, you know, when no one else is around. So I
Yeah.
feel like God gave me her for that, like reason right there. And
Right.
then he gave her to me because I helped her with her business stuff. Like I
Oh,
helped her
okay.
like believe in herself. Like we really at a time in
Uplifted
our
each
friend,
other.
yes, we were
Yeah.
pouring into each other, but it just shifted energetic. And then God was like, okay, no more like separated us.
Right.
And at first I didn't get it. I was like, well, it hurts so bad to lose a friend that you thought was like, oh, I finally found someone in my soul tribe. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like but it works just for a season. And so that's what
Yeah.
I was saying. We had this other girl in our same friend group, and I had stopped being friends with her for a while. Kind of the same thing. Like I didn't feel aligned. We took
Mm.
like 8 months off, and then all of a sudden, it's funny. She started her healing girl here too, and
You
then we
see?
reconnected, and now we're like back on in alignment. It doesn't mean
Right.
it's gonna last, but that's kind of a lesson God's teaching me. Like people are
Right.
here for seasons. Like you're gonna meet so many people in this lifetime. Enjoy the people you have in alignment with you at this stage and like pour into each other. And I
Yes.
think with boundaries, you don't ever have to think, well, I'm never going to talk to this family member again. I'm never going to talk to this friend again. Like, just pray about it. And if you're supposed to be aligned with each other, you could come back because I've had a friend come back. And it's because, like, the accountability thing, right? Like, we are both accountable. Like, we can
Yes.
talk. We're not pretending, hey, nothing's hey, we got in this argument like a few months ago. Like, we don't brush over it. We talk about it. And then we both
No,
agree
yeah.
disagree.
No, and it's true. Like, just for the record, though, if you're my friend and you get dressed up, I'm taking your pictures. That's just it.
Thank
That's the kind of
you.
friend
Me
I
too.
am. Like, I don't care if I'm not dressed up. Like, I'll take your fucking pictures. I get all the angles. Like, you can ask strangers. I'll be sitting there like, do you want me to take a picture for you guys? Now they're every time they're like, oh, she gets all the angles. Like, hold up, wait a minute.
Girl, me too. I'm
But
the same way.
no, and it's true. Like, it's not so much so of boundaries, right? Because I feel like boundaries are what you place for yourself of what you're gonna accept and not accept,
Yeah.
right? I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is even with friends, I had this one friend and he's very like how can I put it? He talks down on himself a lot. And then he's like, "Oh, but I want to find love and da da da, all this other stuff." But then he's over there talking bad about himself and everything. And I had to tell him, I was like, yo, like,
Mhm.
I'm your friend and all. And just know I do this out of love. You need to get out of that fucking mindset. And I told him, I was like, I don't want to be around people that are not high vibrational. Like, I really don't. Like, that's that's just what I do not want. Because, like you said, you met this friend, something rubbed off on you. You know what I'm
It
saying?
does.
And
Birds of the same feather flock together.
yes, and I want to be around those people who are doing something with their life, who are motivated with life, who wants to live life, establish things for themselves, or things like that. I it's funny, I was telling my boyfriend earlier that I was like, I'm serious about not being the parent that sits with my daughter when she's 18, 19, telling her go chase your dreams because I wish I would have chased mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just won't do that. I'm not going to do that. So this is why I'm sitting here in front of you guys, like sitting here and talking in this microphone and things like that, because it's a dream of mine. And I think the boundary I put for myself is not to be a low vibrational parent,
Oh,
whatever
that's
shape or
deep.
form. Like, I'm still learning, because it's not like I had examples.
Oh, that's
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like, I had examples of things I don't want to be. And now I have to sit here and pave the way to be the person, example that I wish that I had. So one of the things that I tell myself all the time is like, I'm not going to be a low vibrational parent, and I have to find my frequency not being that person. You get what I'm
I
saying?
feel that.
And that even
Yeah.
involves what kind of friends I have around.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than just, oh, I don't want to be your friend, or oh, like, no, like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you're gonna be my friend, do I even want you around me and my child? Because it's no longer just me. Like, even now, it's no longer just me. It's me, my child, my partner, and my bonus son, and my dog and my cat. Like, shit.
Even around you're not even allowed around the animals.
You're not allowed around you're not allowed around my goldfish, okay? Like, you're stressing them out. But girl, no, but it's true, like, and I think part in boundaries is just like, and it goes for anyone and everyone, like, not just family or friends, like, it could be acquaintances, it can be your bosses, it can be your
Oh, yes.
coworkers.
I have boundaries at work, girl. Kidding, I'm not. At 5 o'clock, I don't read no more emails. So when you guys hear this, sit down and write like 3 boundaries in each category of your life. Put
Yes,
family, friends, work, even relationships. Okay, well, what boundaries did I set that I know are going to make me a better person this year? Where I can pour
right.
into myself. Because that's the whole point of a boundary. It's like, it's so you can pour into yourself, into your family, like Moni was saying, in this cycle of generational trauma. Like
Yep.
she wants to heal. Like, and I
Yes.
think it's so beautiful. So
Thank you.
you're
Thank you,
welcome.
yeah. I think I grew up wanting my daughter heals my inner child, girl. Like, she does. She heals all of it, because, like, and I know some parents know what I'm saying. I know you definitely know what I'm saying. Like, if you really think back of how we parent our kids, like, isn't that so healing for you? Like,
Oh, it's
back
so
then,
hard for
our
me.
parents, yeah, like, our parents didn't set boundaries with certain people, or, things like that, and, we were hurt in the process, but, like, isn't it beautiful, like, that you can heal that part with your child because of the way you're parenting? Like, girl, I fucking love it, I love it. And, she definitely has a childhood, you know what I'm saying? Like, she don't know that painful struggle, she has a childhood, and I'm proud of that. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky because I have a partner who respects my boundaries, like, you know,
Oh,
in every aspect, even emotional, mental, physical, everything. Like, he's very respectful. He even holds me up to my boundaries. He's like, you said you weren't gonna do that. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. Don't you fucking dare. Like, he's like, mm-mm. And he's very, like, I tell him, I want to do this, this, this. And he's like, okay. And afterwards, I'm like, oh, I want to date. Like, I just want to chill today. He's like, no, you said you're gonna do this, 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 this.
Let's
Don't
give it
forget, you gonna do it.
a
And he's
B.
very he pushes me to
I
do
love that though.
the
Like, and
best.
that's amazing.
But
Yeah.
see, my independent side is like, don't tell me what to do.
That's the part you're healing. You're
It's
healing
like,
that.
don't tell me what to do,
Yeah.
damn it. But then afterwards, I'm like, I'm very lucky to have that.
Mhm.
And it's not just that, like, I think it's just I decided to want more for myself. And I think when I think of 2024, like what we said, there's no room for
Yeah.
not being successful 2024. Yeah, y'all can ask Mariah. Like, I am a crazy planner. Like, I even separated the year into quarters. I sat there and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
Mariah, what do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's because like there's just no room. And I do not want to be in the poor man mentality. And I'm going to say this
Yeah.
right here, okay? Cuz I think this is going to be healthy for us, and so you guys understand, like, this is a process and we're growing.
Mhm.
I'm going to set a boundary right now with you guys.
Okay.
My boundary for myself for 2024 is to not be a lazy bitch when it comes to my business, okay? There is just no room for failure this year. Like, I feel like I planted a lot of seeds last year. This year, I'm pouring water and nourishing what I planted. And the year where I pour back into everything I've established, whether that be relationship, career, parenthood, friendships, things like that. Like, that's just where I'm at right now. And I think it's a healthy space. Even, my mental health, my emotional health, physical health, everything is going to get watered this year and it's going to be great. So, y'all heard it right here, right now. I'm establishing that with you guys because I think we all need to sit back and think about what we truly want for ourselves. Get it out of the boundary space, make it more of a standard. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It should
Like,
be standard, the minimum.
yes, I think that's what we have to take from it is like get out of that boundary mindset and make it a standard,
Yeah.
because
Like, this
that's
is
just
the
what it is.
standard I get treated. So I will tell y'all some boundaries I set last year that I fought tooth and nail for, like, to get to this year. And it
Mhm.
took forever. So I really want you guys to understand this ain't like I set this and I fell like the next day. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's about like picking yourself back up and going again.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I had to heal and this is just me being real and open to you guys, to all of our listeners. So
It's
I
real.
have been trying to heal like relationship wise because I want to attract my dream partner. I want to attract my like someone who can meet me at my level and pour into me the way I pour into them. And who's not afraid to love. Like I love love. Like I want to love this
Uh-huh.
year. So I'm claiming that for 2024. I'm going to like it's gonna the universe is gonna give me something good, something on my level, something equal vibrational. One of the things I really struggled with this year for boundaries, and the one that I set last year that I failed over and over again. But when I finally hit, I'm getting there.
It's okay. You got this.
Is I set the boundary of not stay with men who are not aligned with me.
Ooh.
And that was really
Mm.
hard, guys. Like I went through phases of deleting dating apps, undeleting dating apps, and then like re-downloading them again. So deleting them,
Mhm.
re-downloading them. I will say I had been sober from dating apps for almost 4 months going, and I crossed
Yay!
over into the new year without
Yeah.
dating app. But that was hard for me. Like, I don't think you guys are probably some of our listeners probably can relate to this. It's so hard to set that boundary of like, I'm going to respect myself and I'm going to, like, I had to put myself in places where my vibrational match is going to be. And for
Right.
me, like some people meet their vibrational match on dating apps, but for
I did.
me, yeah. But I was running into this thing to where I was like running into all these like low vibrational beings, and maybe it was just a time of the month
Mhm.
or something. And so for me,
Right.
my boundary was I have to get off these apps. It doesn't mean forever, but right now it's not aligned with. So something that wasn't aligned for me was like, okay, maybe this man, like for me, doesn't go to the gym. It's a boundary for me because it's not about how you look. Like for me, I don't care what size they are. But for me, it was a boundary because I'm working so hard on myself in that aspect. I have to have someone who's an equal vibration. Like I want
Oh,
someone
yeah.
to go to the gym. And we don't have to go all the time. If they go twice a week, I'm cool. They're working on their self. They're loving themselves. kind of what I'm trying to say to all my single female listeners. Figure out what the boundary is for you. I'm not saying y'all should do that, but maybe you have a boundary of like, okay, like I don't like going out. I know a lot of women, they don't like going out.
Mhm.
So for them, their future partner, the boundary needs to be, I don't date men who go out. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right. Right.
Like, yeah, like you need to be a vibrational match and not take less. Does that make sense? Because if you're taking less, the universe is not going to bless you with what you're supposed to be with because it's taking up space. Like they're taking up. Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Does that make
That part.
sense?
But would you
Yeah.
say it's a boundary or do you think it's more of a standard at a certain point?
Now it's a standard. My boundaries turned into standards. But I will say, guys, I
Ah,
failed and failed and failed. I dated lots of men, like little things. I looked the other way because I'm like, well, this guy goes to the gym. This guy has a nice car. He has a good job. But there'd always be a but. But maybe he's not spiritual. You see what I'm trying to say? There was
right.
always like something off. And
Yes.
so I just want to tell you guys, set the boundaries you have, like go write your list. It doesn't have to be like, hey, impossible standards. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like you just have to have the boundaries to know your worth. Like maybe
Right.
this guy goes to the gym and has a great job, but doesn't have like that soft nature towards you. He doesn't call you and like give you the love a divine feminine should have. You know what I'm trying to
Right.
say? Those
Oh
men have to
god,
get
yeah.
cut off too.
Yes. And don't look, look, that what she's talking about is true. In my last marriage, I was okay with him like not supporting me or my dreams. And like, yeah, okay, he supported me in one of them. You know, I wanted to do a whole makeup channel, which was fine. But when I wanted to really get into what I truly wanted, which was like music management and things like that. And this is real, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is real. He would put me down. Like, and he would sit there and be like, oh, I know what that's all about. You're going to sleep with people and blah, 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 all this other bullshit. And it was just like, it sucked because I figured us coming from like harsh backgrounds, you know, like he would want me to do more because our daughter deserved more, you know? But he didn't. Well, I kid you not. And I kid you not. I kid you not. After I left him and I told myself I will not be with someone who's not going to support me in my dreams or push me to be better
That's
or
for
push
sure.
me to aim higher. Like I told myself I'm never going back to that. And when I walked away and I never turned back. I never did. And I kid you not, within that same year, later in that year, I was a music manager.
We love to see it.
Yes, I was. And, you know, it happened quickly. And he wasn't ready and I wasn't fully ready. I was scared of my own power at that point. You know, the same week he asked me to be his manager, like I had him in a photo shoot, I had him in um a festival already on the radio, you know, on a radio station, things like that. Like it was just like boom, boom, quick. But that just shows you like the minute you release whatever is dead weight, like that's how quickly things can come to you because they've been sitting there waiting for
Oh,
you.
yes.
And so the minute I lifted, that just came rushing in. And
Yeah.
that's the lesson. Like have your boundaries, know what is important to you and know what it is that you want. And I kid you not. The minute you set those up and the minute you start pushing for those like to be respected, you'll see how all the things that you truly wanted will align itself, you know? And that's the overall
Preach.
message, you know?
Yes. Y'all need
Set
to
your
listen to
boundaries
her.
and stick to them. And that's all I can tell you.
Y'all need to listen to her. That's confirmation for me. She literally, so our listeners need to listen. That was good. It's
Yes.
really good.
Yes. Well, we love you guys and
I want you
you know.
guys to live your best lives this year with us. We're
Yes, let's
all
all
elevating.
live our best 2024. Okay. This is the fucking year. Let's do it. So, again, like we said, just be you in all this process. Respect yourself. respect thy neighbor, right? No, but really, like, respect yourself and be cautious about how you are as well. So that way you're not hurting anybody else in the process, okay? In the process of your healing. Thank you guys for listening and joining us on this episode. Remember to subscribe on all of our platforms.
Thank you guys for coming and listening. We've enjoyed you guys so much. And I hope you set the boundaries for the rest of 2024. Please go ahead and follow us. It's going to be Tapped In Girls. We are on X, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We do it all. So come join.
Everywhere.
And don't forget, for a cup of coffee, or actually cheaper with the economy prices these days, for $6 a month, you can go ahead and get our bonus episodes and have like some relaxing extra episodes with us with questions and answers. $6 a month on Patreon. Come check us out.
One last thing before we do actually close this out. All I want to say is if you set up your boundary and someone doesn't respect them, just remember to always say, I said no, bitch. All right, all right, all right. I love you guys. All right. Bye.
Find out.